welcome to Divorce Better Drive. Please like and subscribe. Click it, share it, do whatever you can. It helps us so much. We really want to continue doing this. Thank you so much. So you guys have asked us so many times now to go into the marriage affairs side stuff, and we haven't been doing that. So today I am going to be interviewing Sophie. I'm going to be asking her some fairly intimate questions, and she does not know the questions that I'm going to ask.
I'm really nervous. I've got butterflies.
It's good to talk about it, and it was a huge part of our life.
Yeah, and it does help.
It is.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, not further ado, let's just dive right in. Why did you apply?
So, I applied fundamentally because I wanted to find someone. I was 25, I guess, when I started to go through the process. I was quite young. A lot of people would be like, oh, would you want to get married then? I've been single a lot of my life. I had one long-term relationship, 17 to 23 years. And apart from that, I've had boyfriends less than a year. Been single most of my adult life in Manchester, having a good time wherever. I just thought genuinely, take it out of my hands and have an expert. I think I'm really easy to match. That's what I thought anyway. I think I am though.
Your application began very early.
October 2021. I was one of the first people, I think.
Where I wasn't until near the end of February. And my wedding was the beginning of April.
I feel a certain type of way about that. Because with me, I was found 5 months before, and I was told they were, finding someone for me, basically. And then obviously my match was found 5 weeks before, and that was just so difficult for me to deal with, actually.
What?
Because I just thought I went through this whole process, and then you just you plucked someone just before, but then.
But what if they had actually spent the prior 6 months trying their hardest and they weren't good enough? And then at last, they found who they wanted. And
I get that. I guess it's more, I know that person was found.
Oh, he didn't apply at all?
No, which is fine.
Did anyone have two people who actually applied?
I don't think so. And I do understand it's you.
Liam Thomas applied.
Oh.
I've got to say, I don't envy that you had to sit for 5 minutes waiting for this, where mine turned around.
So this was a huge part. I think this is why I struggled a lot with it, because it was such a long time in my life. I got a job in London to run a company down there, to move. They were going to pay for my flat for 6 months and everything. I couldn't believe I got this job, shares of the company and stuff. It was a huge thing for me. Yeah, I turned that down because I just had this feeling, and I got really far in the process. I didn't really date, speak to anyone, anything. I was so in it for that amount of time.
Yeah.
That was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, kind of.
Mine was a whirlwind. Can I get ready for this in time? Which became a little difficult because I had no time to do things like diet. Go to the gym.
Yeah.
You want to look a certain way, don't you?
Oh, God. I mean, yeah, from January to April, I was PT twice a week, gymming 6 days a week, eating hardly any calories. I was the slimmest I've ever been going on to that show.
Do you think that was healthy?
No, I never do.
Yeah?
No.
So you think you pushed your body too far?
Oh my God, yeah. And then when I came out again, and I wasn't happy at all.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I was, I'm already going to get emotional, which is why all the body stuff hurt even more. Because
you'd worked so hard to look a certain way.
Yeah. I was tiny. I had a 27-inch waist or something and that's I was small. I was ripped. I had full-on abs, and I'm still called fat. And I don't care about that. But
you have boobs, you have an arms.
Yeah.
And you have a waist that goes in.
And I love that about myself.
Okay. So you went in. Position?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. So you went into the process.
Yes.
Come the wedding day, you felt good.
Oh, yeah.
Because you ever did.
God, yeah. I mean, I was I bought bikinis for the honeymoon and stuff, and it's probably the first time really that I was shit, I actually, I look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that is actually the thing that bit you.
Yeah. I knew, I'm petite, but I've got curves. I would not use the word curvy because that has different meanings in different things, but yeah.
Well, you have a shaky body.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
As are many others, but
yeah.
You like your body.
Yeah. I think I'm coming to terms with it more now. I'm genuinely, it's my head has flipped a bit, and I've been do you know what? I'm not going to diet like that. I love food. I love food. It's a huge part of my life. So I'm not going to do that to myself anymore. Restrict myself. Last summer, I didn't do so many things because of food. You know, I'm not going to eat that or I can't eat that and the calories and stuff like that. Like, I was not in a good place with it. I've done this before when I've been younger, but I think it was the show and the stress, because last summer when I came off the show, I was going out with my friends and just like leaving, going home, and it was so out of character for me. And like, I just was hardly eating anything sometimes. It was just stupid. But it was just the stress of it. That was before I even got quiet.
Right.
But I was dealing with the comments that were made on the show. My confidence was shot. It takes a lot to bring that back.
Yeah.
It does. And I'm in a good place with it now. I say it all the time, I'm in a good place. All it takes. One fucking Daily Mail article.
All right.
Anyway.
Thank you. Okay. So we've led up to it. We've prepped. We've got there. It's your wedding day. You walk down the aisle. Says, what did you think the first time you saw this guy?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so, I always say, it was the most scary moment ever.
Do you remember him turning around?
No. It was also, I looked at his family and stuff as well, and my family and things. I was like taking it all in, and literally my fucking stomach was like in knots. I walked outside, could see the back of him, and then I was just, it was just crazy. It was like when you turn the lights off and then you turn them on, and you're almost like adjusting to the outside. So I was like looking at his family, like I said hello. It's such a blur, you know. And then I think like doing the vows and stuff, but not him turning around. I might have looked away, maybe I did.
And you seem to think that you remember that moment when
I know.
eyes on your husband.
He had a really friendly smile, friendly eyes. Like I remember seeing from behind and like aesthetically tall, not my usual type. Like I'd say he's a conventionally very attractive guy. He's tall.
Yeah, I haven't seen you like when we've been out and you're like, he's fit. No one's looked at that.
No. I'm like a personality person. If they light up that room, God, it doesn't matter what you look like, you've got me. Like, I love that. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I asked for or anything like that, because it wasn't. But I was very much, I kept away from the looks. Obviously, I gave them bits and pieces of what I usually go for when they ask for like your celebrity crushes and stuff. But God, mine is all over the shop, which is like how I am with guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, line them up. They look so different.
Yeah.
I mean, you're aware.
I remember the first time you walked into the dinner party and Thomas was like, who the fuck are those two? They look like they're out of a bridal magazine.
But yeah, overwhelming feeling of like, I felt good in that moment. And I felt like, you know.
Did you feel relieved?
Yeah, I was happy. I'm like looking at his family. They were like smiling at me and, you know, and my family were there and stuff. And I was just like, it's going to be all right.
So let's go like post honeymoon. At this point, before meeting everyone else, would you say that you actually thought that you and Jonathan had a chance?
Oh my God, yeah. So wedding day was amazing, contrary to it looking on screen. Families were dancing together. All of my family were relieved. You know, I didn't leave thinking, oh shit, I do not want to spend the night with this person. I was like,
into work had paid off.
Oh, 100%. People forget how much time you spend together, right? So when we went on that honeymoon, I don't like flying either. So that was like a little thing. Like he was very good on the flight there. Not so good on the flight back. There was loads of turbulence. And I think he lost his patience a bit because he was just like, if we're not going to crash, it's fine. But 9 hours we spent on that flight on the way there, holding hands. And the honeymoon, we had such a laugh. We had fun together. We just pissed around together. Like we did really fun activities and stuff. You are just getting to know each other as well. Like, but yeah. We were in a really good place before that dinner party. And when we saw each other to film the pre-dinner party getting ready, oh, it was so nice.
And after the dinner party, you felt probably even stronger, considering we were all a wreck.
We didn't go for a drink with anyone after. We were in our own little bubble. I think he cooked us lasagna like the second night. We spent the night together. Like, people said to us, we've hardly seen you.
No, I remember.
Yeah, because we've been in our flat by just us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which... We were all wild.
Yeah, and but
all the rest of us were like parties constantly. Like we literally, he was going over to Zoe's, he was coming over to ours. Thomas is cooking, Zoe's cooking.
We did none of this.
Jordan and Shanita, we didn't really go to Jordan and Shanita's, but there's tons of parties in George and April's.
Yeah.
Like I was there all the time getting drunk. Jess had a couple of parties as well in the first week. Jess and PJ. Oh yeah, party. Like it didn't stop. And then that became difficult for the producers because then so much drama was actually happening at these parties.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we need to film these things.
I wouldn't be surprised if they really cracked down on that for this year's. Because one of the biggest storylines happened at a party that wasn't filmed, which was the toilet at April. Something.
It's there. All right, so you've come in, you've met everyone, you've had your few days in a little bubble. This is great. It's all going well. When was the first wobble?
I just remember that we were having conversations and he would say an opinion and I'd be like, wait, what? I was like, that's literally the polar opposite of how I think. It would be about, I don't even know, like I can't remember now. I just remember starting to think, we think quite differently about certain topics. And I was like, is this going to be a problem? I was like, it's great to be different than your partner. And I think that's important, but not fundamentally completely have different opinions on stuff.
Well, there's different opinions and then there's different moral foundation.
Yeah. And
it may be that far.
Yeah. And the whole PC thing, so political correctness. I found out, I think it was either he told me or something. I'm pretty sure he says he asked for a girl that was non-PC.
Oh, right.
Specifically, yes. Which is interesting because, and I wouldn't say that I'm like completely PC, but I would also say that I'm quite like, I don't know, sympathetic and aware to different scenarios and things like, yeah. But we were basically, I remember it was like, I just remember thinking, gosh, right, our opinions are quite different on things. And he wouldn't back down. Like if I called him out, he wouldn't really like discuss it. It was like, this is how I feel. And I was like, right, okay. But the first time we fell out was the beginning of the whole gym thing. So basically, Matt and Duca said, do I want to go for a gym sesh, like do a leg session? And obviously I'd been gymming loads before this. Yes. And I was like, great, okay. But basically, I'd mentioned it to him. And in the morning, we woke up. And literally, like, one of the first things he said was that whole gym conversation where it was like, don't be doing what they do at the gym and say that, he doesn't want a girl that's bulky. And I was trying to say to him, me doing, 20 reps today is not going to suddenly make me a bodybuilder. Obviously, that takes time. Like, and I'm just going to go work out with them. I'm not going to do the same weight that they're doing. Rather than it just being squashed, so like it was just held on to. Like I get over things very easily. Like I like to. I'm a passionate person. I'll have a bit of an argument about it or whatever, and then I will be absolutely fine. Like I'll get over it straight away. But I feel like he's not like that. Like he holds on to it.
So later that day, you come for dinner with Thomas and Adrian.
Yeah.
So then there was a few crossed words.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. More than a few.
Nothing got aggressive.
No.
I got a little angry.
Well, I was going to say post-dinner it was a bit, but yeah.
Post-dinner. I followed you onto the corridor and we saw one of the producers there and you were crying and you were upset. And I was already unhappy with the situation and had got to the end of my temper. After I felt I had tried to help him dig himself out of every situation and I was trying to be understanding until I lost my rag and then I was like, right, I have no time, get out.
Yeah.
Do you believe that there was a point when I said, I don't really want to be in my flat?
Really? Where did you go? You were there?
Because I was wound up, I just needed to walk away. But I came back and then Gemma came over. When you had been told you were going for dinner with Thomas Adrian, how did you feel about that?
I was excited, I think. I was just excited, but like even before the dinner party, I was like, I'm so, obviously the focus is you and I, but like I'm so excited to meet everyone. And he was just not that bothered about that, really.
Thomas was so excited that you guys were coming over. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy about it, and I'd actually asked for it to be cancelled because I shouldn't own it. There was something. So after we met you, we then went to do a Vox, like the private interviews that happened. The producers were like, what do you think of Sophie and Jonathan? And I was like, Thomas was like, oh my gosh, they're amazing, they're beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't know, I'm going to give it time. There was something there that made me nervous. Something made me uncomfortable.
Okay.
And so I was nervous for that dinner for you and Jonathan to come over to ours that night because I thought you didn't put them with us by accident. I never saw it was going to be me more than Thomas.
Yeah.
I lost more control than Thomas did.
Thomas was very calm about it, really.
So we had a stunning night, and it was upsetting after the dinner. You were really upset, and you cried, and I still remember you leaning against the wall at the end of the corridor on the side, and you were stood with Lewis, and you were crying your eyes out.
Oh.
And you were really upset, and I remember coming out and speaking to you and trying to make you feel better and I just justified in your feelings as well, because I think that was part of what was the problem is that your feelings, this is my opinion, but I felt that your feelings were like, no, well, that's not this. And that's this. So therefore your feelings were being taken away from you.
Yeah.
And you were a silly girl crying about nothing.
Yeah. And I felt like that. Like it was like talking to a brick wall. And I'm pleased that like Gemma was there to hear a lot of what was said. Because it was very like, this is how I feel. And I think he said something then when he was like, it's just not going to work or something. Like, and it really upset me because we weren't at that point where it was really that bad. Like it was just, you know, and I just felt like I was really trying. And I remember just sitting there and listening to the conversation, like, because Jack is not the person that you want to be saying the sort of stuff that was said to, you know, about women and body image and their choices and things like that. Because it got quite heated.
Yeah, it did.
I'm not going to lie, there was also wine involved, but like, you know, I mean, when we're saying off.
Standards.
Yeah, that was hard. In the end, I walked out upset, and obviously there was no, are you all right, or anything. He went to bed, and we didn't make up that night or anything. Woke up the next morning, went to the retreat. I honestly thought, genuinely, how naive this is or whatever, that I was going to find the love of my life, and I'd still be with them now, and I'd have babies with them and all of this. I genuinely thought that was going to be my outcome from MAFS. Think about whatever, like maybe it was stupidly. So in these moments, I just felt like, I don't know, it was really fucking hard.
Pre-retreat, are you getting to the point where this isn't just a row, you don't think that that's possible?
But the thing was, I felt like I was willing to bounce back and be like, everything's okay, like you can do this.
So we're halfway, and by halfway, I mean the retreat.
Yeah, okay.
Now, this is where I felt like I saw cracks happen. I remember you at one point, you came down to our apartment, so you wanted to, mine and Thomas's house was spared away from everyone else's. We didn't want to kept separate. No fight. And so we had distance from the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
And you came down to our place because you needed to run away a little bit. And me and Sheeta were there.
Yeah, God, that retreat. So we spoke about, obviously, that meal and everything. This is where it was just like all happened all at the same time. So we woke up that morning, we hadn't put anything to rest. We got on the coach there and he wasn't speaking to me or anything. Like I was wanting to sort of like put it to rest and just, I don't like going to sleep on an argument as well.
Yeah.
And that did upset me quite a lot because he was willing to do that. We went on that trip and it was very awkward on the way there. He wasn't speaking to anyone. I was trying to get involved with everyone because we just met everyone as well.
That retreat, I was petrified to go to the retreat. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
For good reason, yeah. It was...
Everyone was like, yay, we're going on holiday. I was like, we're not. We're not going on holiday. We are going to hell. This is going to be the worst week we've ever had. I know it. And I'm trying. There's a question that I want to ask because when I watched it as a viewer on television, I struggled with it, right? And it was the scene before the dinner party at the retreat.
No.
And I think you're at the makeup desk.
Yeah.
You're at the makeup, what you call it, a vanity stand.
I'm just, sad.
And he's on the bed. Now, I never knew anything about that conversation. I knew that you'd had multiple fallouts on the retreat.
I mean, I'm not asked, but like, I didn't say a lot of stuff, I think.
Yeah, but it was from me as a viewer, when everyone else saw it, I was like, wow, that happened. That conversation, I remember it. I remember sitting, watching it with my eyes on my television, and I found it very upsetting. I didn't know how you stayed at that point, if I'm honest.
Really?
I didn't know how you stayed. I didn't know how you were able to stay.
Yeah, I do get that. Thing is, we did make up for stuff though. Like, genuinely, and the good outweighed the bad, but that was a bad conversation. I was in a right mood on the bed. I mean, even I was looking at, you know, the people with the cat, like the producers, being like, I just don't know what to do here, what to say. Just like we'd sat together and stuff, and he just made me feel like he didn't fancy me at all, and that there was no chemistry and stuff. And I thought it just blindsided me quite a lot because he hadn't quite said it like that, and it cut deep. But I was like, you know, there's something that's really important for me in a relationship, hugely important, and I say that. I
don't actually remember. Do you remember what he said?
He said a few things. He just said like that sexual connection, like that passion where he was like, it's not there or something. But obviously we'd had sex a few times before that, so it was just a bit like, it was all a bit difficult to hear, and just like, if there was loads of that conversation, obviously it was a lot longer than what people saw, but it was hard. It was hard.
So I guess you're just sat there in a sexual relationship with a person, not being aware until they say, well, what are you talking about? There's no sexual connection. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you fucking me, Dad? Like,
Yeah, I mean...
is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. I took loads of man's underwear and stuff. And I never, like, put it on or anything. I just didn't feel like I felt like shit. And I feel like I'm quite confident with stuff like that normally. But yeah, that conversation was tough. And I did feel blindsided, and I just felt like he was in a mood, and he took that out on me. Which is also why I do feel like we bounced back, because I do feel like some things were said when, tensions were high, or when, either of us were annoyed. And it's like anything, isn't it? You're sort of like, oh, we're fine now.
But do you think then that conversation validated your fears about the sexual relationship?
I think so.
Then.
Yeah, I think I was a bit like, does he fancy me at all even? Like, I was like, why are you sleeping with me then? Like, what is this about? Because I did think we had that connection. So, but then I don't know. That was a difficult conversation. Like that conversation, I think, did.
So the retreat was a turning point.
Oh yeah, I mean, loads of stuff happened at the retreat. They didn't add the stick or twist. He said twist the first time. We tell each other if we said anything, just to be aware of it. He never told me that he said he didn't want to rip my clothes off.
I was there. I was sat next to him. I remember the group reacting like, "Oh, you're not here for Sophie. We're outside."
Really?
To a degree. But like, still, he said twist.
That sucks, And
I don't know that anyone else did.
That's smart. But it just made me feel like, I know that we weren't like fully there with stuff, and like we're very different, but I don't know what did he want? I don't know. It was hard. That's why it was hard. I just felt like so rejected, and I thought that I would have someone that really liked to fancy me. I didn't think as well going into it that would be my issue. And I'm not saying that like, oh, I think I'm attracted, whatever. I don't mean that. I just mean that like, I didn't think that chemistry would not be there. So that was such a rejection for me.
Right.
Because I thought we'd fancy each other. Like, that comes easy to me. Yeah. It's difficult because obviously you watch these shows, and I watch other couples, and I think, why did you stay together? But that connection that we made in the first couple of weeks genuinely was really strong. And we lived together great. We'd still be like, hands on each other or holding hands. Like, it was very, like, maybe the sexual intimacy wasn't always like that, but like that intimacy from like that perspective was still there. So it was hard to,
You had us back.
Yeah.
But even like, I remember you said to me, I did disagree about you. After me and you and Jonathan and Thomas had dinner, you went to the box and you supported, in your private box without Jonathan, you supported Jonathan in what had happened at the dinner party with us. And you told me that. And I remember not being angry with you because I go, she's back in her husband.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll agree. I don't think she distributed me in the slightest.
I had to make that decision quite early. Whether I was going to back the relationship that I had with and I stuck hard, and I was hoping that I would get it reciprocated.
Because you put so much into these things.
Yes.
That you then are like, well, I admit it now.
Yeah.
I will try my damnedest to make this work. And, you've got these people around you say, we matched you. We decided about
yes.
Is this going to work? Give it time. Be patient. Do as we say. And, there's so many relationships where you dive in, you go, don't like that, I'm off. Don't like that, I'm off. I was very attracted to the experiment because of saying, you are sticking in this and you are going to work together until you know it will not. Like, I never intend on leaving any earlier than the end because I was like, I get turned off very quickly by default and I want to stick to the end. I want to know. And I'm so glad that I did. So, retreat's done.
The commitment ceremony after the retreat was bad. So much of that wasn't shown, but that was so hard. And again, I was still there for him 100%. Like, I'd gotten over everything that happened. We put it to bed. But then obviously he was questioned on the couch quite, intensely.
Yes.
But then I faced the brunt of that.
Yes.
They boxed us together, did the little interview thing together, which was harsh because he did not want to speak to me whatsoever. I mean, like, he was 3 inches away from me. It was like, you could feel the radiation of like, hate that was coming off him. And he was like, you hardly said anything and all of this. And I was like, we can't box together. Like, he's fuming at me. Like, he won't speak to me. Tried to stop, like, put my hand on his leg in the commitment ceremony. He was just having none of it. Like, he felt very attacked, which I do understand. I do, but I was still there for him.
The experts went in.
Yeah, they did, and also everyone else did. That's why he felt it was quite intense. But we were going on homestay the next day, so I was like, please, like, me and you are okay. Like, that's where it was frustrating, because so many outside influences affected our relationship so much. Like I was okay at that point. I was like, yes, appreciate that you've been attacked him, but I'm here for you. I'm all right. Like, but he found out very difficult to block.
So, we're getting nearer to the end. Mm-hmm. That final week of Final Vows, me and Thomas left.
Yeah.
So, I am then just a viewer. I wasn't even around.
Yeah.
So, at that point, I didn't expect you to go to Final Vows. Actually, I didn't think that.
Really?
Like, as a viewer, I'm just saying as a viewer.
Yeah. It's so hard because, like, he kept telling me he wanted to be there with me as well. That we'd fallen out, but he'd say the only reason he was there is because of me. He wants to try and stuff.
Okay.
So there was that.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like he was saying to me, I don't want to do this. God, I went straight out that door.
Yeah.
I already felt rejected. I wasn't going to, like, keep pushing it.
Yeah.
But genuinely, yeah, it's difficult to describe the relationship without being in it, isn't it, I guess? But,
And I just thought it as me as a viewer.
No, fair.
And the
I get
television.
that.
So your decision to stay for Final Vows, because I think it weighs heavy on you staying for that Final Vow.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like that's the biggest commitment you've got to make.
You've got to remember as well, we've been in there less time. So we were not committing to marriage. We were not committing to boyfriend and girlfriend. We were not even committing to, like, exclusivity. I mean, I kind of assumed we had that, obviously. But what I'm saying is, like, we were just committing to whether we would give it a go on the outside.
Begin dating.
Yeah, so I didn't feel like that was too kind of like, had it been like you're getting married or something, then God, it would have been completely different.
So,
yes.
the big day arrives. Final Vows. As a viewer, it didn't look too comfortable.
So,
I've never asked you about this.
I know.
I've never asked you about any of these, actually.
I know. This is interesting. So I wrote the vows and I was nice in them. Like, I felt I picked out, his good qualities and, the stuff we'd been through, the ups and downs, that we'd still sort of stuck by each other and things like that. Obviously, I outlined that we're very different and things, but in my head, it was like, now we're going to give this a go. And we were in a good place, like leaving the experiment after the final dinner party and stuff. It was good. Now, so we were last and we were in this beautiful, oh my God, this like little cave with all these candles. It was so cute. He was like shaking, very nervous. He hates public speaking. So this was a big thing. I heard mine out. He went, and he said something like, don't take offense to this, or don't worry. He was like, don't listen to this or something. And I was like, what? I was thinking, I've poured my heart out in these vows and it's how I feel. So what's he written? And he read his vows. And in that moment, I remember thinking, do you even like me that much?
Which is how it felt.
Deep down, when you look back at stuff, I have no regrets or anything. So then, yeah, in that moment, I remember being stood there and just thinking, that was the nicest stuff that you could say about me. Like, it felt like...
It's the best you've got.
That's the best you've got. Like, it felt like friend zoning me, but kind of keeping the door open to see what he wanted.
Right.
So that's how it felt, And I just remember being a bit like, okay, I'm pleased that's over.
How long does it actually take for the relationship to close?
We were speaking every day, sending each other morning texts, like ringing each other. I wasn't like looking for anyone else. I wasn't like, actively pursuing anything or anything like that. I think we were just like in a relationship that wasn't a relationship. Like, we were texting all the time, but we weren't seeing each other. So it was a bit weird. It was a bit awkward. In my head, I'd have wanted to hang out with him. But then neither of us were actually ready to see each other. And we don't live that far away from each other. Both have cars and stuff like that. So it was like, why are we not seeing each other? And then I said to him, can we have a conversation? Because like, what's kind of going on with us? And that was a very good conversation. It wasn't sour or anything. Very healthy. Both agreed. I think it was actually a bit of relief, to be honest, because there was no bad blood. It was more, I think we're more friends than anything. Let's see what happens, but like, you know, we're not going to block each other off from dating other people and things like that. It went well. But that was the end of like that kind of like intimate relationship.
In all honesty, probably it's a very private question. If Jonathan came back now and said, I've made a mistake, what would be your response to that?
Thing is, I just know that that's not even like a possibility.
Let's just say it is.
Okay. No way, categorically no. So much has happened. He blasted me in the press and like broke a lot of trust with like, no way, we're not right for each other. I was very much in that MAFS bubble and I put so much faith into it at the time, and like I didn't have, you know, the connection to my family or my friends. I hardly went on my phone and stuff. Like I was very much like committing everything to it. Whereas on reflection now, I'm like I just felt like I was really strong, you know, independent woman going into it. And I lost all of that throughout that process. And like now I've built that back up. There's no fucking way I'd be made to feel like that again. And you know, it is sad. And I do get upset about it. Like, you know, I think both of us a year on from our wedding days and stuff, it's fucking hard because you can't take away the emotions that were felt. Doesn't matter if you like them now or not. You felt a certain type of way on a day.
Absolutely.
And like I said to you, I went in thinking that it would work out. So it's taken a while to come to terms with that. But I think I'm now at the point where I've come to terms with it. So it's not even like a thought process for me now. I think that it was shit. Some stuff went down in the press and I just felt like, you know, even my mum wanted to give him a call and just be like, why did you do that? Or like, why did you, whatever. And then obviously the Amy thing, oh my God, I forgot about that. That sucked because I did still like him at that point. And then that came out in the media. Oh my God. Yeah, no, not a chance. Once that Christmas thing came around, we weren't in the best place, I don't think, because it wasn't great when we were watching it. Rather than like supporting each other, I felt like I supported him. I don't think that was reciprocated at all. But I do understand he was getting a lot of backlash. I was trying to
help him.
Yeah.
Support him through that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like anything I did was a lose. It was just like I was never going to win. Whatever I did.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Would you do the experiment again?
Every part of me wants to say no, but if I got that call and they went, we found you someone, I don't know. Yeah, probably. But it's affected my life a lot. It would be a big decision.
What would you say that you led in the experiment that you took away?
I really became stronger as a person. I do. Like I think I thought I was strong before, but I think that this is definitely made me stronger.
You've sort of said that you like patched over problems. Then do you think in future you would?
Yes, I think that that's a good point. Like you should trust your gut, and sometimes like I do think that I probably like band-aided it up, so I was like everything is fine, whereas it wasn't. You should deal with things, and I think that as the experiment was going on, I don't think I did that, and I would in the future. I also think that like honesty is the best policy. I had a partner that was very honest, and I do think I was honest, but I think that I should have been more honest with myself and with him even maybe. Like it's not all fucking rainbows all the time.
No. My final question is for everyone else out there, considering you have been in an intense environment with experts, you feel you learned a lot. Do you have any small pearls of wisdom to give away to people who are struggling with dating?
I think with my own like self-confidence and things like that, like being like literally a roller coaster, it's been up and down. I do think that you fundamentally need to be in a healthy relationship with yourself. Obviously, you're a work in progress. Nobody's perfect and things are up and down. But I think that if you're going to open the door to dating, try and be as sort of like confident in yourself as you can be, because it really does make a difference. Also, I genuinely feel like a switch has flipped this year, and I'm a bit like, I don't care, like with things about like my body and things. I'm like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm healthy, happy, touch wood. Like that's what's important.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for being so honest and open.
Oh, you're welcome. On to yours.
So,
Next episode, we're going to flip the script. I'm going to be asking Adrian questions. I'm excited now, if a little nervous, but yeah, prepare yourself. Thanks, everyone.
okay, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week where Sophie grills me.
Woo!